Top story this evening, Donald Trump is all set to return as the 47th President of the United States. He will become the first American president in 132 years to return to the White House after losing power. It is a convincing victory, with Trump set to win all the 7 swing states. A victorious Donald Trump addressed supporters at Palm Beach in Florida, declaring a golden age for America. Trump was flanked by his running mate, J.D. Vance, his family, including wife Melania Trump, and all his children. Trump promised to fight for America and fix everything. The mood was somber at a watch party organized by the Harris campaign. Kamala Harris is yet to address supporters and concede defeat. The Republicans have managed to flip the Senate and take control. Republicans also look poised to take control of the U.S. The Congress, which will put them in charge of both the executive and the legislature in his victory speech. Trump singled out Elon Musk, saying a new star is born. Musk has been an early supporter of Trump's second bid for the White House. In fact, Trump has said that Musk could join the government and lead what he called the Government Efficiency Commission. According to Trump and Musk, the aim of this commission will be to cut red tape, shrink the size of the government, and foster innovation. Trump also praised Robert Kennedy Jr., a former Democrat who abandoned his presidential bid and endorsed Trump. RFK Jr. is notorious for his conspiracy theories and anti-vaccine campaigns. Trump has promised to make him the health czar, putting him in charge of organizations like the CDC, which were at the forefront of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, here is Donald Trump addressing supporters at his Florida resort. Take a look.
Welcome, President-elect Donald J. Trump, First Lady Melania Trump.
Our country has never seen before nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president. I tell you, we have a new star. A star is born, Elon. A few names like Robert F. Kennedy Jr., he came in. And he's going to help make America healthy again. Leave the oil to me. We have more liquid gold, oil and gas. We have more liquid gold than any country in the world. We're going to help our country heal.
All right, we are now joined by Ravi Batra, lawyer and chair at the National Advisory Council of South Asian Affairs, Arun Kumar Singh, former Indian ambassador to the United States, Ambassador Neelam Deo, co-founder at Gateway House, Brad Stable, CEO at APCO Worldwide. Thank you very much to you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on the program. Neelam Deo, if I can begin with you. Donald Trump was all about America first between 2016 to 2020. Today, when he said that we want to make America great again, we want to make America powerful, what do you think will be his #1 priority?
I think his #1 priority, going by the issues that were taken up during the campaign and which seem to have yielded this extraordinary victory, including in the Senate and the House, is immigration, inflation. So I think the economy and the link that it has with immigration will be the 2 issues that they will try to address immediately.
Okay, so you feel that economy and immigration are 2 issues that they'll work on immediately. Ambassador Arun Singh, when we speak about immigration, what Donald Trump said in his speech, that we will let people in, but we will let them enter legally. We will have a very secure border. What do you expect him to do in terms of further strengthening the immigration laws in the United States?
Well, not just strengthening immigration laws, but also enforcement measures on the border. And at one level, they do need congressional authorization for more strict measures. And you'd recall that there was a process on in the US Senate to develop a bipartisan bill during the Biden-Harris administration. And Trump blocked that because he didn't want the Democrats to get a win. But now, with their being in effective control of the Senate and potentially the House, they will try and see if they can get a measure through, and then whatever else he can do through administrative measures. So they will do that. Stricter measures on the border, deporting people, so that those trying to come illegally are dissuaded. So that would be one. And I think from India's point of view, that should not really be a negative factor, because although there are a certain number of Indians who are coming in by the land route through Mexico, through Canada, that's not something that India as a society would like to encourage. Our focus would be more on legal migration. And on the H-1B and other visas, clearly the US companies themselves feel that they need skilled human personnel coming into the US for them to remain their own competitiveness at the global stage. So we shouldn't have too much worry on that front.
Right. What aspect of his speech, Brad Staples, really resonated with you? Because we have been hearing how an America under Donald Trump will be more isolationist and more inward-looking. What really changes for the business community, for the industry in America?
I think isolationism will be in part at the core, and protectionism will be at the core of the Trump ideology we'll see in this new term. I think we'll see beyond immigration and tackling inflation in the way we heard about before, a return to some of those things that he prizes. Tax cuts, extending the 2017 tax cuts to individuals beyond the deadline next year. I think that shift to spending on border security from Social Security, the use of fiscal stimuli to enhance business performance. I don't think we'll see a rollback of the CHIPS Act or the IRA. Those funds, those incentives may not get quite as much support as they had before, but we'll see some continuity there from Biden to the Trump era. I think global tariffs will be front and center, and India, as an important trading partner with the United States, will face stresses that Europeans and others will face in terms of the imposition of 10 to 20% global tariffs, probably up to 60% on goods imported from China. A focus on reshoring rather than nearshoring, shortening those supply lines to those that are in place in the US. And probably the other critical factor will be tackling climate change, a shift in focus, perhaps not leaving the Paris Agreement as happened in the previous administration, but as we heard the president just say in the clip you showed earlier, a focus on further investment in oil and gas and probably a return to LNG exports.
Right, return to LNG exports. Now, today we have seen strengthening of the dollar, a fall in oil prices after the Trump victory. Now, in case the demand from China weakens in the days to come, how do you think oil prices will be impacted? Ravi, if I can put that question to you, what's Trump victory meaning for energy prices, oil and gas prices going forward?
Great to join you on a very, very happy day for America, because it is frankly a resurrection of our roots in 1776 and 1787. And Donald Trump, presides over a divided America, much like Abraham Lincoln did. And as Abraham Lincoln set the stage, with malice towards none and charity for all, is what the new America is going to be. However, this America is going to be strong. It's inward looking, as every family has to be. Every family has to be strong for a neighborhood to be strong. So for America to be strong, every nation on earth, our allies and our adversaries, can feel safer, because when America is strong, we're more confident, and there will be less war or no war. Insecure America causes wars. A confident and secure America that ends wars and stops wars from taking place. As far as your micro question about oil prices, the Indian Minister of Oil and Petroleum, our mutual friend Hardeep Singh Puri, knows that as well as my answer, and that is the price will drop. because the fact that the United States will create more supply will automatically, any elementary economist will tell you, greater the supply, the lower the price. But it's more than that, frankly. You have to look at America as a family looks at their home. When you go to sleep at night, you lock your doors, right? Well, America has a right to lock our borders. A country cannot exist. No country can exist. India can't exist if your borders are perforated like a Swiss cheese. So you have to have secure borders, and the fact that there is a Senate victory, the House is still up for grabs. And I like a car. I like a gas pedal and a brake pedal. I think it's a good thing, but we don't know yet if Hakeem Jeffries will remain minority leader or become the new Speaker of the House. But in any event, the fact that Donald Trump has won the Senate, that's a very big deal because that affects who his administration is, because now he does not have to alter who he prefers.
That's an important point.
Okay. Second,
that's an important point.
Nation,
and yeah,
one second.
Ravi, I'm going to come back to you. Please go ahead.
I'm just saying, every nation on earth is affected by the Senate going with the presidency, because every ambassador that he appoints now will be who he prefers it to be. So our allies and our adversaries will get a clearer signal of what America means and what it stands for. And NATO has nothing to worry about, and CSTO has nothing to worry about. Okay?
All right. Okay, Ambassador Deo, if I were to come to you, Trump during the campaign has said that India imposes very high tariffs on products coming in from America. He has threatened to impose reciprocal tariffs. So which are the product lines or the sectors which you feel are likely to be impacted with Donald Trump in the White House?
You know, I think Indian exports to the United States have become very service-oriented. Those services which are exported are, in fact, as Arun said, those are supporting the IT and AI sectors of the American economy. I think from the way former President Trump has phrased it, his focus appears to be on commodities. We are not a very large commodity exporter to the United States or to anywhere else either, and manufacturing. You will recall that in his last term, they put some tariffs on those motorbikes. I mean, that kind of small issue, I think we do not need to get very concerned about. But if it is a blanket tariff, because what he's been saying is that he will put tariffs on all imports, 10 to 20% from the whole world and up to 60% from China. He may, because he does have a stupendous majority now. I doubt, though, that things can go that far, because that would be disruptive for all economies, including the American economy, because it is so intertwined with the global economy and particularly with the Chinese economy itself. As well as for India, it would be a big problem because our manufacturing is also intertwined with the Chinese. Our exports are not always of a finished product. There are intermediate products which are moving. So it's very hard to name a group of products the way they did last time, raising the tariff on, complaining about how high the tariff from India was on motorbike exports from the United States.
Right. Ambassador Arun Singh, if I were to ask you, what do you think will be the India-US relationship status? Will it be stable, going strong, or complicated? Because you have Robert Kennedy Jr., who probably may play a very big role in the health department. You've got someone like Elon Musk, who's given $100 million to the Trump administration, who's got stakes in China, big stakes in the United States, across the world, with Starlink, Tesla, SpaceX. Do you think the India-US relationship today, which spans across sectors, is going to get complicated?
I think we would have been broadly okay, whoever won this presidential election. Now, with Trump, we can base it partly on our experience during Trump 1.0. In 2016, during his campaign, he had reached out to the Indian American community, and there was a relationship there. Once he became president, in 2018, he placed India on STA level 1, Strategic Trade Authorization level 1, allowing highest level of technology releases for India on par with its NATO partners. When we had the conflict in Galwan in 2020, US shared information, intelligence, they leased 2 drones for the Indian Navy, and there were reports of US having shared some winter clothing that we needed at that time. During one of Prime Minister's visits, in the joint statement that was issued, it was indicated that US would now authorize the sale to India of armed drones. Now, that was something that was a departure from the past. Previous administrations, citing MTCR, had not allowed those exports. So during the Trump administration, relationship was taken forward, consolidated, higher-level technology releases were done. And then if you remember, President Trump had joined the Indian Prime Minister in 2019 in Houston during the Howdy Modi rally of 50,000 Indian Americans. Very unusual for a US president to join a rally for a visiting foreign leader. And he spoke there, he stayed there throughout the event, went around the stadium holding hands with the Indian Prime Minister. And then he came to India in February 2020. We addressed a 100,000 strong crowd in Ahmedabad and, of course, visited Delhi. So those would be the positive elements. I think it was the Trump administration that came out clearly and said that China was the main economic, technological, and military challenge for the US. It was in the national security strategy, national defense strategy at that time that China was singled out in this manner. So they see a convergence between India and the US in dealing with regional challenges. And he had revived the Quad after a 10-year gap.
Right. Very important points there. Brad Staples, we have been wooing the likes of Apple and also Tesla to come manufacture, grow their supply chains in India in a bigger way. Now, as Ambassador Arun Singh and all our experts have been pointing out, that considering India and US have been in a comfortable position and there is a common concern with the rise of China and global supply chains, do you expect Tesla to maybe set up manufacturing in India, India to give those concessions, Apple to consider more manufacturing in India? Will that be a nudge from the US side?
I'd reinforce what the ambassador was saying just a moment ago. Trump wants a strong India bilateral relationship. And I think that's going to pivot on several critical elements. Technology, strengthening that trade relationship with India, seeing more and more US manufacturers redesign their global supply lines so that India plays a critical part in that, whether that is in the manufacture of EVs, whether it's mobile technology, or it's in semiconductors. I think what we see with the new administration, Prime Minister Modi and his team are listening to US business interests. They're engaged on the critical issues, and they're looking to create a welcoming business environment for US investment. And for the United States, that's critical, because redesigning those supply lines, reducing that dependency on China is very much front and center of everyone's minds. And I think in terms of the political relationship, there's a little more room to maneuver for Prime Minister Modi with Donald Trump in the White House. There'll be less focus, less criticism, as was seen in the Democrat administration, on issues around freedom of expression or minority rights. So I think there's a strategic alignment. And in terms of the political character of both administrations, there's more proximity.
Right, more proximity, especially there has been some concern between the two sides, also with the Five Eyes partners, over India's actions or allegations against India's for acting against members of the Sikh community or Khalistani activists in these countries. We are going to take a short break, but lots more when we return on CNBC TV 18. All right, we are discussing Donald Trump being elected as the next president of the United States. And we will take the final verdict with our guests today. We are joined by Brad Staples, the APCO CEO, also by Ambassador Arun Singh, former Indian ambassador to the United States, Neelam Deo, former Indian diplomat, and Ravi Batra as well. Ravi, if I can come to you, and this is a quick verdict from all our panelists in a few seconds. If you can give us a sense of what do you think will be one big economic priority of Donald Trump and one big geopolitical priority?
America's economy is going to grow. Our deficits will drop, and the dollar will stay strong or get stronger. And America being stronger will be good for every nation, especially India, where Prime Minister Modi pledged indivisibility in his Washington Declaration in 2016. And frankly, I told Wang Yi, the foreign minister of China, just about a month ago, China needs to become an American ally. After all, America made China great and wealthy, and there's no reason China should be our adversary. So it's good for America, it's good for the world.
Okay, Ambassador Deo, Trump always wants a win. So what is that one win he'll want from India?
Oh, I think he's going to look perhaps for some kind of expression maybe then of interest, of commitment from the Indian side, if we are looking at geopolitical issues, something on China and something maybe on Russia, Ukraine. But a commitment, some kind of standing by the United States.
Right. Considering that he laid so much of emphasis on liquid gold, Ambassador Arun Singh, do you think US is going to force India to buy more American oil, reduce reliance on Russian crude?
I think it's not a question of buying. Even in the first Trump administration, if you remember, India had started buying a fair amount of oil from the US as a signal to our interest in deepening the partnership and taking some pressure off on the trade issue. But I think it would be important for us to take the conversation in the direction of the partnership on critical and emerging technologies, which will deepen the relationship, something that had been started in the Biden administration. And Trump may want to take it forward because that would be the interest of US business. But I think he would want to brand it differently because he wouldn't want to be seen as continuing with something that Biden may have started.
All right. Brad Staples, a US-China trade war. Is there going to be pushback from American businesses?
No, I think US and global business has made an adjustment already to this frostier, more protectionist, isolationist approach to the United States. The changes that were underway in terms of supply lines between the US and China are well established. India finds itself in a strong place because it is the country that US companies can look to secure future manufacturing at the scale and the quality that can be found in few other places. So I think this is a moment in which there's business continuity, there's understanding about that reframing of the relationship with China. And herein lies probably one of the greatest opportunities for India to be a partner to the United States in this reset moment.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us on CNBC TV 18 on such a big day, which will define the course of geopolitics in the days to come. Let me go across to Ambassador Atul.
For more news and updates, all you need to do is follow CNBC TV 18 on all of our digital platforms.